Oh, so y'all ready? Y'all ready, huh? Welcome back to After the Snap. It is I, your auntie Tosh. Yeah, that's me. And we are here today for my first time. This is my first time doing a live stream discussion about Doctor Who. And I'm very excited to talk about this episode. And I can see that several of you are just as excited as I am to discuss 73 yards. Now, if you were here, if you weren't here yesterday, you guys know I'm testing out a new way to present my initial thoughts. You can stop me whenever you want to. I'm going to stop whenever I want to, but I do have a video that I will play in order to make sure that I'm hitting all the notes that I planned on hitting for this episode. I do have other notes, and I'm looking forward to what you guys got to say because believe it or not, some of y'all, as a matter of fact, most of y'all know way more about Doctor Who than I do. And I'm not upset about that. Like I watched so much of the Doctor Who, New Who, what they're calling it. I've watched so much of it, but I fell off around the end of the Capaldi era, and that's because I couldn't afford to keep HBO. Wait a minute, what was it on? It was on HBO Max, right? I couldn't afford to keep whatever streaming service. I think it was HBO Max. But because babies are in this house, we got to keep Disney. We got to keep Disney. So that's why I have it. I've got Disney so that I can watch Doctor Who now. So I'm excited about that. Norman says happy holidays. Same to you. Tasha, it seems always strange to say happy Memorial Day considering it's about remembering soldiers who passed. Yep. Glad to be here with you. I'm not one of those soldiers who passed. I truly appreciate the sacrifice of those people who laid down their lives for the betterment of the citizens of this country and for the country itself. And if you are a veteran who served and you're here with us this week, we appreciate you. We do. Hey, Clarence. Modern Who expert Norman is. I did not see most of Classic, and I've heard some Big Finish episodes. Wingray says it was on Max through the end of Jody, and that's why I didn't get to see that. Even then, my expertise is limited, unlike Trek, as I have not seen all of it. I've seen, like I said, I was truly invested all the way up until the end of that. They switched over to. Did they switch to HBO Max? How was I watching it in the first place? I don't remember. BBC America, if you wanted to watch it as it aired. I can't do BBC America unless it's free. Is it free 99? If it's free 99, I can do it. New Who, small smattering of classic. I had a small smattering of the classic too. My brothers used to terrify me with classic Who. They thought it was real funny that I was afraid. I'm so sorry for the coughing. I was so afraid. No. Include bleed and crop marks. I don't know what that means. So we're just going to download. I'm so sorry, y'all. It's the coughing. So yeah, let's just hop into this and you guys stop me if you want to. I am all for it. Not Google Slides, silly me. So sorry. Modern Who is on Max from Rose to Power of the Doctor, I believe, is the last Jodie episode. Only Clarence is almost completely New Who. Wingray said it used to be on Netflix in the long ago times. That might be where I saw it. Like I watched, like cleaned through everything somewhere, and it might have been on Netflix. Netflix. Norman is saying Netflix as well. It went from Netflix to HBO Max and now Disney for only the new stuff. That's how I watched it then. I can remember. I'm still wondering with this new season 1 if I should call what we see now as third Who. Maybe we should. It's really weird to me, and I thought maybe you guys would have an answer as to why they have started this thing back to series 1, or they're calling this season 1 again. Classics can be seen on BritBox, which I don't have, of course. uh, Clarence said that this installment, the Shooty Gatwa installment of Doctor Who, is new Who. Oh gosh, Neo Who, according to Win Grace. It is a gimmick. It's a gimmick to start over at 1. I don't know if I would have done that because it's already like, and I know this is me being a little touchy, but it's already like you're packaging this new doctor who just so happens to be different than the doctors that we've seen in the past, and that he's, number one, that he's black, and then number 2, that he might be queer. And then you start it all over. You're giving ammunition to some of these dweebs that's out here. And yes, I did say dweebs. Some of the dweebs that are out here, they're just basically homophobes. They're basically I wouldn't even call them racist, because I think that if this doctor, still being black, was not secretive about his sexual identity, I think these people would be on board. They are not on board with this because of the queer recognition. It's almost like they want these people to just exist without saying a word. We don't want to hear anything about your gender identity or your sexual identity. We don't want to hear anything about it. You keep your shit under wraps. Yeah, I'm gonna kiss my wife and I'm gonna hug on my girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, but you keep that shit to yourself. And I don't like it. I don't like it. But there may be a whole different reason why they've started from 1. You can't see all of classic as a number of episodes are lost. And that's something that you probably, unless somebody has it hiding somewhere, we will probably never see those episodes. They'll never see the light of day again. That's incredible. Wingray said because it's Disney funded and Disney only owns the new series rights. So they want to trick you because they're insidious like that. Norman said, he's danced with guys. He's at least sexual. He's at least like he has a fluid sexual attraction, it seems. And Norman also adds, it's not obvious like Captain Jack Harkness. I didn't know Captain Jack was gay until much later. I really and truly did not. So there is that. This right here, yep, I'm gonna start it off. I don't know who's here and who can help. I got financial issues and I need money. So you can support the show a whole lot of different ways. You can become a member. You can join me on Patreon. I got a GoFundMe linked in this description of this live stream. I have Cash App, which is right here on your screen. If anybody can help me, I'd appreciate it. And I'm not going to go into all of the whys. You can watch other videos, and I have explained at length and ad nauseum what is going on around here. But I'm not going to not ask for help when I need it. I'm just not. Okay, so there's that. Even when he was on Torchwood, I think by then I might have known that Captain Jack was gay, but even on Torchwood, it didn't matter. I didn't know. And I didn't look at it like he was all flamboyant and he was an actor playing a role. I didn't know what that translated to in his real life. Okay, so let's go. I think. Nieces and nephews, welcome back to After the Snap. Today we are discussing Doctor Who's Season 1, Episode 4. This one is called 73 Yards, and it is about landing on the Welsh coast. The Doctor and Ruby embark on the strangest journey of their lives in a rain-lashed pub. The locals sit in of ancient legends coming to life. The writer of this episode was Russell T. Davies. The director is Dylan Holmes Williams. So this fourth episode is pretty mind-bendy. It is the third episode that features somebody stepping on something and changing reality. And I'm wondering, of course, does that have something to do with our kind of the mystery that we are trying to solve? I also wondered why. So, okay, since I got that question out right in the beginning, 4 episodes, but 3 times something was stepped on in that episode that caused a ripple in reality. Do we think that means anything? Do we do we think that stepping on something, the way they're treading, because honestly, it makes Doctor Who look very careless because he's not paying attention to his surroundings. That's number one. So do we think that the stepping on stuff, the stepping on the butterfly, the stepping on the landmine, the stepping on this circle, do we think that all means something in the grand scheme of things? This was a Dr. Light episode. So I'm like, dang, did Shooty get hurt during production or something? It turns out it turns out Shooty was off filming for sex education. So that is our big mystery for why we have not been getting an awful lot of Doctor Who in Doctor Who. Now, 73 Yards turns out to be one of the creepiest horror episodes that I can remember since Blink. The one with the weeping angels way back in 2007. I am terrified of that episode. They did an outstanding job of translating Doctor Who into horror, and I think they did the same thing here. From the start, Russell Davies kind of indicates that this episode is going to be different. It's the second time in Doctor Who's illustrious history that an episode didn't start with the opening theme music or the title sequence. So did you guys notice that? Because that was one of the first things that jumped out at me. I was like, damn, did I ever see the opening of this episode? I didn't remember seeing the opening of the episode. And that's because there was no opening montage to this episode. There was no theme song. And that was weird to me. So I had to look up. When is the last time that we didn't have the theme song? And we got to answer here. I had to go back and make sure that I didn't miss it because I didn't hear the theme music, because it was odd not hearing it or seeing it. So the first instance that they did this in Doctor Who was also a horror episode. It was a horror episode called Sleep No More. It is from the Peter Capaldi era, way back in 2015, shot in a found footage style, but Sleep No More did actually show the words Doctor Who on one of its found footage clips. We didn't see it at all in this episode. It was also a reference. Sleep No More might be important because it was also a reference earlier this with Space Baby, which is where we first saw somebody, but this time it was Ruby stepping on some ish and changing everything as we know it. The second time, of course, was the Doctor himself standing on a landmine. And then I'm wondering if big reveal is that all of this ish happened because Doctor Who stepped on that fairy circle, or could it be from something else? We are going to keep our eye on that, and try to see what it could be pointing at. Now, Russell T. Davies said, hey, I skipped the opening montage because that TARDIS materializing is enough. The viewers know who Doctor Who is. He's kind of trusting us to put together that this is still Doctor Who, even though we didn't see the opening sequence. And I can agree with that. I'm smart enough to figure it out. Clarence is saying he didn't mind the lack of the opening because he was sucked in with not breaks, with no breaks. Maybe that's what that meant. I had to use the bathroom as soon as this shit started. So I was like, okay, I'll watch the cold open. And then when it goes to the opening, I'm gonna run to the bathroom and then I'm gonna run my ass back in my room and watch the end. There was never there was never an opening sequence. There was never the theme song. And I'm like, where the hell is the theme song? I gotta pee. Theme song was like, nope, you hold it. You hold it. Should have worn a diaper. That's what the theme song told me as I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do. Because I'm sitting here now. By this point, I got tears in my eyes. I had to use the bathroom so bad. And yeah. So there's that. Norman said Sleep No More is one of his faves. 73 yards on the other hand, definitely one of his faves. Oh, Sleep No More is not one of his faves. 73 yards, on the other hand, is definitely one of his faves. No breaks. So Clarence had no breaks, no timeouts. Okay. So in this episode, right at the beginning, the TARDIS lands. The doctor jumps out along with Ruby, who was played by Millie Gibson. The doctor jumps out and he lands directly in a fairy circle on a cliff in rural Wales. So we are in the Welsh land. So after we see Ruby read some of the little messages that was in the fairy circle, and they tampered with that ish, okay? They probably shouldn't have touched it, but they tampered. After that happened, Ruby looks up and ain't no doctor. Doctor's gone. Doctor is gone. And so should the doctor, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you guys anyway. Should the doctor know better than to just go and touch some stuff? Should this be a lesson that he's learned over many regenerations, many lifetimes? Why is this doctor making so many mistakes? And we could say that maybe he's not making mistakes. Maybe he's doing this stuff intentionally. I don't think he's doing it intentionally. So why is this doctor making so many mistakes? That's my question. She's alone. Or is she? Doom, doom, doom. Ruby finds herself stuck with a stalker. And I ain't talking Martha from Baby Reindeer. She's stuck with a stalker who remains 73 yards away from her at all times. It's close enough to see, but you can't hear or identify who that person is. And this stalker situation lasts for the rest of Ruby's life. So yes, we are going to watch Ruby age and grow old and pass away in this episode. So what seems like this simple horror premise became this whole timey-wimey battle against a future fascist prime minister. We did get to hear Shooty allude to this prime minister in the opening. This episode contains a lot of references and a lot of Easter eggs to Russell T Davies' earlier works, not just his previous Doctor Who work, but his other stuff as well. In 2008's Turn Left, just like in 73 Yards and Blink, Donna Noble enters a Dr. Light alternate reality to give the main actor a break. Okay. I see the discussion going on about why are so many mistakes being made. When Grace makes a point that I do follow up on just a little towards the end of this clip, and it is the supernatural is new to him. He's so used, and he said it a couple of times in this season. There are no monsters, only creatures we haven't met yet. There are no, he's saying basically supernatural doesn't exist. There is always an explanation for why things are happening. It's not just singular to Shooty's doctor. We've seen other doctors say similar things to their companions in the past. So now it looks like things are a little bit different. The doctor is truly affecting the reality around him. Why is always the question. Why? Never meets the doctor, so she can't save his life like in The Runaway Bride. These disastrous events all occur without the doctor, like the Titanic crashed into London. It caused a nuclear fireball. Yeah, weird stuff happened because there was no doctor. In that episode, Donna and Wilf, who is her grandfather, lived in Britain under a military rule amid a refugee crisis. And they have this England for the English law, which is pretty racist. It sends immigrant families to labor camps. Now, Wilf is a World War II veteran, and he says they called them labor camps back then is happening again. He sees that this future could be nothing but fascism. In this episode, Donna also has a mysterious stalker, not her future self though, but another companion, Rose Tyler from a parallel world. Now, Clarence says, and Ruby may be the ultimate supernatural element in this season. I think so too, because she has no beginning. She has an end, but that's just one part of her that has an end. We've seen this other version of her out there too. The other version of her was out there at the same time as the prime version of her. So now I'm wondering how much of this is her and the doctor being together. How much of the stuff that we are seeing go awry is because she and the doctor were never supposed to team up. You know what I'm saying? That's just my theory for today. Tomorrow shit will change. Rose can communicate with Donna. Outcome is the same. Their alternate beings have to be erased, or they had to have never existed for the rest of reality to go on as it should. Roger Ap Gwilliam is the first Welsh leader of a future fascist party, written by Russell T. Davies. But he also wrote of Vivian Rook in the 2019 miniseries Years and Years. That was the first British fascist. And just like 73 Yards, Years and Years rapidly advances future time periods, and it depicts the threat of a nuclear war with Trump firing. Excuse the clipping in this video. I don't know why the ends of my words were clipped off the way they were. A missile at a Chinese island after winning 2020. So Davies avoids mentioning elections until the 2040s in order to stay timely. So Williams fashioned Albion Party, referencing ancient Celtic Britain, wins in 2046. Rook's four-star party, which was the censorship and the Italian far right, they are who win in 2028. So in 2040. Isn't that something? Because I've got a picture with Saxon in the background of it that's coming up later on in this little video clip. And isn't it funny that it is also political? And I don't know, it's not only political. Of course, Doctor Who usually has some type of message going on underneath, but I thought this is weird that we're seeing a lot of politics as well. Not weird, but interesting. 46 is when the first time that anyone would be able to put together that Roger Ap Gwilliam is not going to be good news for the Brits. Gwilliam and Rook immediately jailed their political opponents after gaining power, and then Rook's ousting by the heroes took a whole lot longer than just one episode, one day. Of course, this episode has ambiguous meaning. We don't know exactly what RTD is pointing at this point, but do know that Ruby is extremely important in this situation. In fact, I think it proves her important that she lived throughout this entire ordeal, lived an entire life, and was able to do something on her own without the assistance of the doctor to stop Roger Ap Gwilliam from creating this nuclear Holocaust future for the residents that he would be taking care of, he would be in charge of. And there was also, we have to remember Wild Blue Yonder. And I know a lot of us have forgotten that was all things that happened. It was part of the 60th anniversary celebration, where the doctor said, I invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe where the walls are thin and all things are possible. I've just got the feeling of something. And I'm wondering if him throwing that salt over his shoulder way back then is what is continuously causing these issues as we move forward in the timeline. We've got a doctor who clearly is not paying attention to details. He keeps stepping on Ish, right? He keeps stepping on Ish. And he initially told Ruby if she stepped on the butterfly, wouldn't much happen, right? So there are a lot of things that have been left unanswered. We did get to see some familiar faces. We got to see Ruby's mom again, and she met up with the 73 Yards lady and immediately went on about her business. We saw Susan Twist again. We got a twist pretty much in the beginning, and she walked away too, terrified after speaking to this lady. Kate from the unit from Torchwood, she flipping talks to the lady, and her and all of her officers was like, oh no, we got to bounce. So we don't know what the lady was saying to them to set them off. We don't even know what she looked like when they walked up on the lady. But we do know that whatever she said, it created Ruby's worst nightmare, which is her being alone. Another thing. So what do y'all think about that? The gosh, I just lost my train of thought. It just pulled out the station without me. Where the hell are you going without me, train of thought? Anyway, gosh, now I got to go back to hear what I said. Okay, Clarence said it was amazing to have Kate show up. I usually hate to see her in unit, but it was used to great effect in this episode. It was. It was. Now, again, this is the first time I'm seeing Doctor Who since sometime in Capaldi, right? I don't know how many times they may have done it in between since the last time I saw. But yeah, I like the references to the unit, and I love Torchwood. One of my favorite shits on TV back then. Um I cannot remember what I was about to say, so I'm gonna have to run this back just a couple of seconds so I can remember what I said. And all of her officers was like, "Oh no, we gotta bounce." So we don't know what the lady was saying to them to set them off. We don't even know what she looked like when they walked up on the lady, but we do know that whatever she said, it created Ruby's worst nightmare, which is her being alone. That's what it was. What the hell do you think she was saying to them? Because like she's an older lady, you could gather that much from seeing her in the distance. Do you think that she will be the same lady that dropped Ruby off at the hospital? Was Ruby dropped off? I mean, at the church on Ruby Road. Do you think that Ruby dropped herself off at that church, and that the lady was pointing at the doctor to keep him from coming near her because perception filter, them being together would F things up? I'm wondering if we find out that Ruby was taken to the church by herself. Let me know what y'all think about that. The negative message is coming from a future Ruby herself, and that is intriguing. It is. There was that changed memory that the doctor recalled an episode or so ago of Ruby's mother. Yeah, she did. She's this time she pointed at him. Before she just was in the distance. This time she turned and she pointed at him. Yeah, that's something to think about. Another thing that Kate alluded to, and when she was talking with Ruby, is that they usually investigate the extraterrestrial, but more recently they've been investigating the supernatural. Things seem to be turning supernatural these days. That is according to Kate Stewart, who we know she's doing work. So what is making things go supernatural rather than extraterrestrial? Now, Kate also theorized that the TARDIS landing close to the fairy circle range may have disrupted the TARDIS perception filter. And we have been aware of the TARDIS deception filter or perception filter for a long time. Because as the doctor explained to Jack and Martha that the TARDIS had a perception filter to help it blend in, first and foremost, I thought that was the Jack that we were referring to when it was like rest in peace Mad Jack or whatever it said. I honestly thought that it was talking about that Jack. So anyway, the doctor gave Jack and Martha TARDIS keys with perception filters, and he put one on himself too. And Martha said, "It's like you're there, but I don't want to know." So it's like you see it, but you're choosing to ignore it because of the perception filter. So it was introduced in an episode called Human Nature, and I'd be lying if I said I remembered that. I just had to do a little research. The doctor also used one to hide y'all remember Time Lord Human Nature. If you remember that episode, help me out. Tell me what that was about, because I did obviously I did some research because I haven't watched Doctor Who in so flipping long. Obviously, I've done some research, but I ain't research everything. So if you know what this episode is about, please let me know. Jack's branch of Torchwood is in Wales, Cardiff. I mentioned something similar to that a little bit later. Norman, was you in here when I was recording? Tell the truth now. Tell the truth. Were you in here
Had to
when I
do a
was
little
recording?
research. The Doctor also used one to hide his Time Lord self in a watch from enemies. Remember that? I remember that. The Master is revealed to have done the same thing, and several other Doctor Who villains have used perception filters. Jack himself uses one to conceal Torchwood's Cardiff base in the spinoff Torchwood. Y'all know. Anywho, so 73 Yards is the first episode since The Sound of Drums to talk about the TARDIS perception filters in depth. And Kate, again, explains to Ruby that the filter makes people see it, but sort of don't regarding the TARDIS. And she's thinking that this is possibly why this lady is not visible beyond the 73 yards. And of course, we talked about the TARDIS landing within that fairy circle may have been what changed things perception-wise. Now, we learned that elderly lady was elderly Ruby. And again, we watched her live out kind of a life on screen. We never learn what she says to scare people away. It might be a warning or something to stop this nuclear war, or she may put a perception filter on them. Maybe what they see after they talk to this lady is not Ruby, but it's something else. So there is no specific significance to 73 yards so far. Russell T. Davies said that he had to physically measure that distance for the story to work, because you want to be able to see but not identify a thing at this 73-yard distance. Captain Jack Harkness also mentioned time-traveling fairies at one time. So I'm wondering if that fairy circle is kind of a callback to what Captain Jack said about the fairies being time-traveling. This could have caused a lot of chaos even before the Doctor broke the circle and vanished, if we got time-traveling fairies who are...
And Norman makes a very strong point that I didn't even think about. Okay, unit, you don't want to mess with Ruby. We got you. You are confused by this old lady, perception filter lady. We got you. Why would you let that TARDIS sit there on that hilltop for all that time? Why wouldn't you pull the TARDIS in? And there should be some interest in the TARDIS, even if you don't have interest in the companion. You feel me?
Neither evil nor good. They're just they exist. They kind of do what's necessary in a moment, I suppose. But I'm not 100% sure about fairies in Doctor Who. But I got a feeling we're going to see a whole hell of a lot. Miss Flood showed back up, y'all. So, of course, we knew that there was something about her. Hopefully, we'll learn more. We got to learn more within these next few episodes, right? We know that we're going in the direction of supernatural events, because Kate Stewart didn't even have to mention supernatural events if she didn't think that they were part of bigger question of this mystery. So how far into the supernatural are we going to go? And does it connect to the Pantheon, the one who waits? Are all of those people supernatural, or are we going to find out that they are extraterrestrial? Hopefully we're going to get these.
That's something that I was wondering too, Clarence. If the future that Ruby fixed, that she sicked her stalker on Roger App William, does that future now no longer exist, or just has it been just changed? That's my question. And does he still figure out a way to cause trouble in the future? Here we go. Norman says it exists as much as Turn Left happened, or Saxon's year of reign of terror happened. So in some pocket dimension, these things occurred, but it never affected the greater reality. If I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, I'm not 100% sure. Let me know. Wingray says they're extra dimensional from a realm where our laws of physics and rules don't exist. So they are not supernatural, they're extra dimensional. Got you.
Answers its 4 episodes of this. Man, I enjoyed this episode. And I know we got more to talk about. You guys are probably going to say some things that I had forgotten. Those were the big things that came as I was watching this episode. Those are the big questions that I had to record so I wouldn't forget. This episode, out of 5, I'm probably going to give it a 4.75. And that's because I'm not the hugest fan of Dr. Light episodes. I like my doctor in my episodes. But this was not a bad episode. It really was. Really a good episode. Really let us know how formidable Ruby, how she thinks, maybe not on her feet, because it did take her years to come to the conclusion that Roger App William is who she needed to stop. But she came to the conclusion. She did it. Yay, she did it all by herself. So I think that episode excelled at making us care a little bit more about Ruby, know a little bit more of where this season could be going, even critiquing our doctor. Let me know what you think. Like I said, 4.25, I'm sorry, 4.75 for me. Let me know what you think. I know your ideas are going to be fantastic.
And that's that for that, y'all. So all of my high points were hit. I saw some of y'all points in the comments, and some of them I put up here already. Others I think we need to discuss a little bit further. I already believe we're back on track for a nuclear winter. Snow. They're kind of like Mr. Mitzelplick. How do y'all say Mitzelplick? And I know it's impossible for you to put this the pronunciation in the comments. But I've always said Mitzelplick, and I think it's because when I was a little girl, the Super Friends series that came on the weekends, it's Saturday morning cartoons, his name was Mitzelplick. Now they say it in other ways, and I'm like, that ain't his name is Mitzelplick, and I don't know how you say it backwards. But anyway. So yeah, we got the snow. We got Ruby not having a beginning or an end or any ancestors when they were looking when the ambulance from Boom hit her with as they were doing the what is it called? She was doing like a DNA or genealogy test on the person, and she's like, "Oh, you ain't got a beginning, you ain't got no end. You're it's almost like Ruby don't exist, but she does exist, obviously, because we see her, right?" So yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me too, Clarence. Clarence says, "Okay, Norman, you're blowing my mind. Are we thinking Ruby's snow may be a prophetic nuclear winter?" Now, we've seen mention of some nuclear-ish. It did snow again. It snowed for a little while. What else? Uh, Snow has had a conspicuous role in at least modern Who. The first Christmas snow came from the alien ship Torchwood destroyed via Harriet Jones' orders. Oh, Sunday. It could be considered the beginning of a week or the end of a week, depending on your point of view. Wow. Y'all are hitting me with some real, because that's true. A lot of people don't will refer to Sunday as the first day of the week. There are also those who like, oh no. It is not the first day, it's the last day. So yeah, I'm feeling you. I'm really feeling this nuclear winter kind of hint. But I'm still also trying to figure out, gosh, how is that going? How are they going to get from here to there, explaining the snow and all this stuff? Is that something that's going to be explained this season, or are we going to have to wait until Ruby's turn as the companion plays out? This is something that can be stretched over multiple seasons, even though we know we're getting and her name probably won't be Monday in next season as a co-companion. But I wonder what all this has to do with the snow and the church on Ruby Road and all of this. So yeah. And look, y'all know this episode is not going to be that long, or this live stream, because I don't have as much knowledge. I'm waiting for you all to hit me with some stuff, and you've given me some things to think about. Specifically, hey Bougie Barbie, you've given me some things to think about, specifically this nuclear winter thing, specifically beginning in Alpha Omega Sunday, Saturday. Y'all gave me that to think about as well. Clarence says he thinks that we'll have some answers by the end of the season. I'm surely hoping so. Even though, as long as they don't make any big changes to the way they're distributing Doctor Who, I'm in on the ride. I'm along for the ride. They have piqued my interest because even though we know that there is some connection somewhere, these have been some fantastic, to me. It's gonna be some of y'all who don't agree that I believe that this is has been a good season, and I've liked the ones that even people thought were clunkers. So there is, let me see. I had and I ain't got it no more. If there was an article that I read, let's see, go to my history. There was an article that I read that talked about, well, there were comments, and the comments was talking about why people are having such a huge problem with this year's Doctor Who. And like I said, most of it ended up being very homophobic to me. Let me see. I'm going to pick up a few of their little comments down here because it just let me know that people are not giving it a chance. People are truly just they just want something to complain about. And they really want this season of Doctor Who to be a bust because of their own, whatever it is that they are afraid of. And I say whatever it is, but we know what their fear is, and at least I know what their fear is. They're afraid of I don't know if they think the shit's gonna rub off if one person is gay or trans or whatever, by any of that. If a person is that, they act like that is contagious. You don't have to what you do in the bedroom and all that. You ain't even got to worry about all of that. Can these people act? If the answer to the question is yes, then leave the rest of their life alone. These people, the writers, the actors, the producers, the directors, it shouldn't matter that much. And if this turns into them doing queer storytelling, well, queer people need stories and representation, just like my black ass does. So just like I can sit in this chair and yell about representation, they can too. We are seeing a huge improvement in the area, the realm of representation, but it's not without people kicking and screaming and fighting and the such. People are truly, feelings are hurt. I can't find what I'm looking for. And I guess it's good enough that I can't find it. And the reason why it's good enough that I can't find it is because who needs to hang around and talk about the negative? We knew these people were out here. I'm going to start a Dalek of the day, even though it's not going to be every day. My Dalek of the day is going to be somebody who leaves a fucked up message on my on my videos or live streams that are discussing Doctor Who. They're going to be my Daleks of the day. So next week, remind me or be looking forward to seeing a Dalek, because it's going to be one. I got several that they want to pick at me and mess with me about Doctor Who, like, just because they don't like it. And they said 2 million people have stopped watching it. So those 2 million people and the person who left this comment, so 2,000,001 people have stopped watching it. And that means that I'm supposed to stop watching it too. Give a F what them 2 million people did. Those are the same 2 million people who probably loved Good Times, the reboot on Netflix. Why am I worried about what those 2 million people feel about a series that I'm enjoying. Care less. It is my job to try to talk other people into in or finding some enjoyment, or at least giving it a chance of different series, but it is not my job to agree with every person who leaves a hateful message, and everybody who has their own manufactured reason for why they hate this season of Doctor Who when they haven't even really watched this season of Doctor Who. And we got the Disney thing. People are mad about the Disney thing. They're mad about the sexuality or the perceived sexuality of the Doctor. They're angry about the prevalence of some of the guests who have been on the season so far have been members of the LGBTQ plus community and or a person of color. This is their worst nightmare come to life. I got to sit here, and for the entire time that I'm watching Doctor Who, which is theirs, Doctor Who belongs to them. The whole time that they're watching Doctor Who, they have to be faced with their own freaking inequities. And their inequity is that they don't know how to share society. They think that their experience is the most important experience, and there are so many different perspectives. You would be crazy to just get caught up in your own when there are so many different perspectives. I'm gonna pick up comments before we start to try to get out of here. Norman says she better be the same person from the same time period. I would have much rather Clara had been the Victorian governess. Norman said Space Babies was odd, unsettling because because more of the mouth effects from the babies than anything else. It was very unsettling, whole uncanny valley thing. I understand. I get it. I still thought it was a cute episode. Oh, but I got baby fever over here. If I had ovaries, they would be tying themselves up because the babies. I love the babies. A number of YouTube reviewers were anti Jodie Doctor too. It's the same thing, same verse. Yep, she's a woman. Ruined every damn thing, putting a woman in the damn TARDIS. 4 episodes left. We are halfway through this season. I am super excited to see the Doctor. When are we going to see more of him first and foremost? And then what the hell is going on with Ruby? I'm really excited to learn her secret because it's got to be something juicy. And I know Russell T Davies has just been holding this thing ooh, I can't wait to use this. And he's getting an opportunity to use it. Clarence said, folks need to get over it. We're talking about an alien from another dimension that can be both male and female. He can be whatever he likes. He can be whatever he likes. And we are, and this is what y'all getting all up, your panties all up in the bunch. Yeah, I said your panties, even if you're not a female. Now, how do you feel? You got your panties in a bunch over a fictional character. Even though I can get my panties in a bunch over fictional characters, but I don't take it this far now. I don't take it this far. And if I choose to decide, if I review an episode and I don't like it, and I decide at this point, I'm not watching anymore. I've at least reviewed that episode. I've given you some reasons why I'm not going to watch it any further. And I'm not telling you not to watch it. I'm saying I'm out. Yeah, the game is up for me. So it shouldn't matter what everybody else does if you are happy in your decision to never watch Doctor Who, Star Trek, or any of these other series that everybody has these huge fan bases. I won't say everybody loves, has these huge fan bases. You think that you one person, even if it was 2 million people, how bad is 2 million people saying F Star Wars gonna really be for Star Wars. Now we know it still represents eyes on a project, and it still represents money coming out of your pocket to watch these things. But for the 2 million that fell off, there are 2 million who jumped on, and they don't seem to realize that their opinion, that their experience is not everybody's experience. And that's what I can't stand about them. If they could explain stuff and talk about this series and what they don't like about it using their words, I would have far more respect for what they are talking about. Wingray says, speaking of representation, did you get to discuss that morph moment from the finale of X-Men? I have not. And look, I'm supposed to do a live stream with these guys, and I guess I can do it like this and have my freaking bed showing. There is a group called the Soul Firm Entertainment, and they are just beginning to do their X-Men breakdowns. So far they've done 2 episodes. I'm supposed to join them. I was supposed to be there from the beginning, but then this shit happened. And yeah, that shit happened. So I told them no matter what, unless somebody is in here physically working on this ceiling, I'm going to join them this week Saturday. And I'll try to join them every week Saturday because I do need to get to that moment. In fact, we could discuss that moment really quickly right here. When Morph sat at the bedside of Wolverine, who was had just been brutally maimed by Magneto by getting all the adamantium pulled out of his body. Morphed into Jean Grey, and he said how much he loved Wolverine. And I think, of course, we know by now, even in that moment, though, I was like, this is not Jean saying it. This is Morph saying it. Morph loves Wolverine, and Morph is a non-binary character because Morph can morph into female or male. Are you feeling me? Picking up where I'm putting down? Because Morph is not a comic book character where if you change this about him, you're changing the entire comic book character. Morph was made for the series. So they can do whatever the hell they want with Morph, right? Morph is in love with Wolverine. And quite frankly, and you guys can tell me if you've heard any murmurings. I have not heard as many murmurings about Morph as I have about the Doctor and everything else. People are seeming to accept it in the X-Men universe. And it could be because the X-Men universe, while we Black people like to say, hey, it's an analogy or an allegory about the civil rights era. Well, the same thing can be said for the LGBTQIA plus community, where they are like, this is an analogy. This is something that we can relate to because these people didn't choose this. This life, the mutant life chose them. They didn't choose a mutant life, and yet they're being persecuted for being who they are. They feel the same way. This is something that we own, that we have ownership of too. All of us are enjoying it, and I don't know where I was going with that. Okay. Daleks will come Christmas, if not before. They always make an appearance for at least each season or series. Bougie Barbie said, you said it right. They stay scared of seeing a gay couple, like it'll rub off on them. Just ignorant. Norman said, I have begun not recommending some of the anti-woke Who reviewers. Tired of seeing bastardized pictures of Gatwa and sometimes Jinx Monsoon. Yeah, I've seen some terrible things myself. 73 yards and boom, both feel like instant classics. It's almost as if bam, the first boom happens, and then 73 yards happen,
And the stories are similar enough that it gets you thinking, and they are instant classics. Hey, Reinhardt. Reinhardt said, I figured out the premise of this episode early on, and I still loved it. This was almost a Blink level. That's how good this episode was. Precisely. Yep. Clarence said, so Shooty wins the Best Dressed Doctor Award, right? I think I like the changes of wardrobe. Again, I like it because each doctor has had parts of him that remains the same, but a lot of them have their own distinct qualities about them. And that is one thing, that you're playing the same character, but this character can be tweaked to fit the new regeneration of the doctor. I love that about the doctor, that you can play the doctor and there are certain beats of the doctor that have to be played like this, but then there are also things that you can have fun with. And I think Shudi Gadwa, and I think David Tennant, and I think Matt Smith, and I think they all, with the exception, I don't even know. I think Eccleston might have had fun with it. It was a lot of fun being had. The doctor can be anything as long as that being is British. He's going to be. He has a very strong connection to the Brits. Let him be. Shooty is not attached to just one wardrobe, and I'm fine with that. I am too. Clarence says, right, Wingraves, but Shooty is American, even though we know he's not American. But again, we got the same people making these crazy comments, and they ain't did their homework. The channel that I'm going to be on is called The Soul Firm Entertainment. I will share a link in the Discord if you guys want to join and hear me chop it up with some different guys. But yeah, they're called The Soul Firm Entertainment. They do the live stream on Saturday nights, and I think it's at 9. No, I think it's at 8 Central. So they are on the East Coast, so they have to. It's a little later for them, but it'll be 8 here. Yeah, I remember before the season came out, there was a bunch of uproar about Morph before the season came out, but I haven't heard any since. Yeah, it's been quiet. It's been quiet on the Morph front. I think. Let me think now. I think there are so many people who started to realize, oh, I can't use the comic book as cover for my for my homophobia in this situation. I think a lot of people, of course, there's the biggest group of people who are like, just write good stories, and I don't care who you put where, write good stories, and I'm down like 4 flat tires. But there's this other group who are like, I don't want no, I don't want to see it. Therefore, Morph doesn't exist. You know. Oh, and this was all before the season came out, and they saw how good it is, and they heard the word of mouth, and they started to watch it. Hey, David, he said, you don't do who, but you do it with you. Who? I mean, you do who, I'll do who, I do who with y'all. When Gray says, I definitely think the costume changes tie into the overall revelation we'll get about what's really happening this season. I hope so. And how do you join the Discord? I am so glad you asked. There should be a link to my link tree in the show notes or the description, wherever you're watching. If there's a link to the link tree, use the link tree and it'll lead you to my Discord. And anybody can join, it doesn't matter whom. And we hope to see you there, Bougie Barbie. Just like I hope to see you tomorrow when I do the evil live stream. That'll be, I believe I set it for 5:30 tomorrow as well. Let me see.
You guys got some I know, I try to get people, we're gonna save our ratings and stuff for class and the discussing who discussion discussing who discuss y'all know what I'm trying to say. The discussing who discussion. We're gonna save the 4 out of 5 this or that for Clarence's show. But you can't tell me what you would rate this episode out of 5 if you've watched it. So in the comments, please, out of 5, I gave it a 4.75. What would you guys give it in the comments right now before we wrap things up here? I'm going to wait a minute. I'm going to put this back up here real quick in case somebody wants to scan it and be some lunch or some dinner or some put some money towards the equipment that I have to rebuy because of the situation with the roof. Whatever you can do, that is my Cash App. And then I also oh, I guess that was there. I didn't see that. I should have known it was there though, right? So you can also become a patron, visiting patreon.com/Tasha Pierce. There's also that big join button. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can hit the join button. But if you've not done anything else, please hit subscribe and like this live stream so that the distribution later on will go out there and people will picking up what I'm putting down. Wig Ray says the only problem of not having a set costume is action figures. Yep, but you can dress them things. You can have so many different clothes. Oh my goodness. The wardrobe. Say Bougie Barbie would be good in the Discord. I hope so. Bougie Barbie said, if I have to duck into a bathroom at work, I'm not missing the evil live tomorrow. Don't get yourself fired. Be sitting at the crib like me. Don't get yourself fired. Norman says 5 out of 5 up there. Not the best Dr. Light episode, though. Turn Left is still the best of that type. Clarence is right there with us, because he's hovering somewhere right below 5. Wing Grace is going 5. You guys really liked it. It's just the Dr. Light thing. I have to take off a little for the Dr. Light thing and for driving me completely and totally batshit nuts because I'm like, what are we going to do? These answers, what's going to happen? Ooh, can you watch season 4, episode 1 without knowing anything about evil? I don't recommend it. I don't recommend watching it. You might pick up what's going on, but there is so much good that you will be missing by picking up on this season. When Grace picked up and he started watching a little, I think. I believe Justin is watching a little, Bougie is watching, and Marge is watching. What do you guys think that are in the chat right now? Do you think that you can just pick up at season 4.1 or season 4, episode 1 and just pick up what's going on? It's some wild stuff that happens in the earlier 3 seasons. And a lot of like them going through the recap could help, but it ain't nothing like watching and seeing what craziness goes on in this show. But I'm not gonna tell you to watch it, and you don't need these prior seasons because I think that they're needed. But with other opinions, maybe you'll watch it and you'll keep up with what's going on. So Bougie is agreeing with me. You can go in cold with season 4, but she wouldn't recommend it either.
She said she watched all of it. You'll understand what's happening, but you miss a lot of the context by not having seen the stuff that happened before, if you're picking up what we're putting down. Well, I don't have anything else, y'all. It has been fun. I'm gonna dip on up out of here since I'll be right back here tomorrow. Clarence, tonight, is there a stream? I'm glad you're here. Oh, that's not a bad idea too. Are you doing a stream tonight, Clarence? Please let me in the chat know so that we'll know what's going on in the next hour or so. David, Evil is also on Paramount Plus. So if you they are doing it. They are doing a live stream. So tonight at 8 p.m. Central. See you later, Norman. And Reinhardt, don't get yourself fired being at work. So, yep. If you're not doing anything, you've been enjoying Star Trek Discovery and our discussion that we had yesterday. You'll probably enjoy Clarence's discussion tonight. He also has up on Discussing Trek, his channel, a short review. When Grace also has graced us with a shorter review of this. What was the episode yesterday? Lagrange Point. So tonight we will be discussing it with Clarence and his live team, and I cannot wait to watch it. Hell, I might. I'm gonna see, because if I can find if I can get some dinner in me, I might try to join you, Clarence, tonight if you guys have room for one. But I got to see if some food is in the future here. I didn't. You know what? I saw it. And it was too late when I realized that it was Discussing Trek. I had already pulled the little thing to refresh, and then when it refreshed every damn thing. So now I just have to go back and watch The Awkwworm. So yeah, I don't have anything else. See y'all tomorrow. If you're going to be here, I really hope to see you tomorrow. And yep, enjoy the next episode of Doctor Who. We'll see next, what is it, Friday and Thursday, the final episode of Star Trek Discovery, and then Evil. We're going to talk about Evil tomorrow, and then we'll get our new episode later on in the week. With all that being said, I've got nothing else. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.